This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 7th year. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, I'm Alex. Yes, and this is a Ramble. And we're here until midnight tonight, so stick around. Oh no, put up the whole hood again. Put the hood up. Here you go. Ladies and gentlemen, there he is.
The Darth Vader of comedy.
The Unabomber.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
You had dark glasses, you'd be the Unabomber. That's Stephen Kravitz, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, folks.
How
you doing?
Lives up in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Yeah, Worcester, Massachusetts, where it's cold and rainy.
Is it Worcester? It's Worcester.
Yeah, Worcester.
Okay, is it?
Unless you're from here, Alex, then it's Worcester.
Worcester. Okay.
Right.
So you're up in Worcester.
Right.
But also, is it spelled like Worcestershire sauce?
It's spelled Worcester.
Okay. So anybody, Worcester, he's up in Worcester, packing the
Yeah,
car.
living his dreams.
Where do you pack your car?
On the street. Where do you park yours?
How come you didn't wind up having a Boston style accent? Is it just Bostonians who have that?
No, it is a Massachusetts accent. I mean, I can hear it in other people. I don't think I have it. It's because also I worked hard to get rid of it. Don't forget, I was in California for 38 years.
Yeah, that's right. That will do it for you. You know what the most infectious accent is? We lived in Houston, Texas for like 2 years. Okay.
Really?
And my ex-wife Ronnie, since
how many times have you been married?
This many?
Really?
What are you laughing at?
Well, I've been married 3 times.
Oh, okay. So we're both doing it till we get it right.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
You got it right this time, though, right?
Well, I mean, you know what it is when you get to my age? It's going to be the last marriage. Okay?
One way or the other.
And even if we suddenly decided tomorrow we can't stand each other, I mean, she's going to get divorced at 78 and me at 82. It just doesn't make sense, you know?
Right.
So it's a marriage at our age is different than a marriage at a few 8 years less, okay? Like if I were 70 still, I could see that maybe I would get divorced again, you know, because as I say, I kept doing it till I got it right. And I also married a pretty good person too, you know.
Yeah, you married a great lady.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes she's a pain in the ass, but then again, so am I. So
yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah, that happens. But so I've been married 4 times. Yeah. Gee, let's see. First one, her name was Linda. It's almost a vague memory. She got pregnant.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Here's the story of my life in a nutshell.
Are you a dad?
Hold on a second. Maybe I am a dad, but not by her. Okay. I married Linda because she got pregnant. I figured that was the right thing to do, right? I was a gentleman. It's the right thing to do, and I don't want everybody referring to the kid as that little bastard, you know? So that's what it is, okay? So we get married, and on our wedding night, we were in Lake Tahoe, and we're in a cabin kind of unit, and she starts feeling ill, and we take her to a hospital, and she has a miscarriage.
Okay.
That's the story of my life. She gets pregnant, I do the right thing and marry her, and right after the marriage, she has a miscarriage.
So how long were you married to her?
Not long. Maybe it was, I don't know, I mean, I wanted to make a go of it. You know, as long as we did it, let's try and make a go of it. So I joined the Navy because I had to, just to see the Army at work. I joined the Navy, and then I went down to Southern California, and I was with Armed Forces Radio, and she was with me there. And then at a certain point, we broke up. I think she cheated on me with somebody else. I can't even remember. It was that kind of. I have one picture of the two of us together. That's all I have. Okay, and that was my first marriage. How about your first marriage? How did that go?
Well, my first marriage was to a woman named Patricia.
Mm-hmm.
And we dated through high school, through college.
Oh, really?
She lived with me in Paris. She lived with me in San Francisco, and that's where we broke up. She was cheating on me.
And how long were you together with that one?
We were together probably 10 years.
Wow. So you must have been devastated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
And
she cheated on me with one of my best friends.
That's always the case, though, isn't it? I was going to say to you, was it one of your best friends?
Yeah.
You know, because that's what seems to be the case in a lot of times.
Or an ex-best friend.
Huh?
An ex-best friend.
The ex-best friend. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Did you confront him with all of this at one point, or did you just...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. It wasn't pleasant.
Oh, yeah.
I would imagine it wasn't pleasant.
No, not at all. And she ended up marrying him.
Did she really? And did it last?
It lasted probably 20 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe he was better for her than you then. Yeah.
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
You know, it's just a shame that after 10 years it would like fall apart like that. But then again, you said it was in high school that you started dating her.
Right. Right.
So what you need in high school is not what you need when you're 10 years later. That's a big period of change for you.
No kidding.
Anybody. So she probably looked at you one day and said, "This is not what I want with my life."
Right. Right.
And
also, it was the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of my career was starting to take off. Mm-hmm. And she's working full time and I'm working an hour, 2 hours a night, and I'm making the same money she's making.
Wow.
So I think there was a little jealousy there. Plus, she cheated on me. I mean, let's just say what it is. She cheated on me.
Right. So I mean, but nevertheless, probably it was going to fall apart anyway, just because you knew her at such a young age that even your needs change.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So should we get to second marriage?
Second marriage only lasted like 5 years.
Okay, and who was that to? What was her name?
Paula.
You really pick them with P's, don't you? You had Patricia and then
I
Paula?
picked blonde sixes.
Really? I always went for brunettes, short brunettes. I like short.
My third wife was a redhead.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to exist in about another 20, 30 years. Redheads are going away.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're being weeded out of the gene pool. Let's see here. My second wife was Ronnie Bennett, who I married, and we were in Houston, Texas. I was working in Houston, and she had been my girlfriend back home, and then she came, and so we hung out, and then we finally decided to get married, and I didn't say no because I didn't want to disappoint her. I wasn't too sure about it. It did last a while, though.
How long?
Oh, geez, maybe 11 years, something like that.
Oh, really? That's a good chunk of time.
But some of it was me running away from process servers in the divorce suit. So,
Right.
But she came to New York. She was my producer at WPLJ here in New York. She was very good at what she did. She went on to be a producer for Barbara Walters for about for about 20 years. Yeah.
Well, good for her.
Yeah. She traveled all over the world, met people like Gaddafi and people like that. Whenever Barbara was going to do an interview, she was there on the spot, sent to wherever the interview was going to be to pre-interview
the
person. So she got to meet some of the most famous people in the world.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, and so, but that she was, we got divorced, and I'd never forget this. The night we broke up, she came home. She said, "I'm leaving you. That's it. We can't do it anymore.
Right.
It's over with." So I'm depressed, and I go down to the village to a club where two people I know, or one person I know is playing, another person I don't know as well is playing, and it was Patrick Skye, who was a folk singer. And,
Okay.
And I don't, and then there was Dave Van Ronk, was the other person there, and Pat said, "Look, what we'll do is go to the bar next door, and I'll come in and I'll babysit you while Dave is on, and then while Dave is on, while I'm on, Dave will come in and babysit you." So I go to the bar next door, and of course Patrick comes in, and we're sitting there and we're talking, and I'm, the kind of I didn't. In many ways, it was one of those things where I really enjoyed other women a lot, and I wondered whether I was really being sincere about being so depressed, or kind of having a certain amount of joy involved in it as well.
I get it.
But anyway, Patrick's giving me the whole thing about things will be better, don't worry. Then in comes Van Ronk. Now, I don't know if you ever heard of Dave Van Ronk.
No.
But this guy was like a tough guy. He talked like he had kind of a rough, gravelly voice. He was a very famous folk singer at the time. I mean, but, when you think about folk singers, how many folk singers can you name?
Maybe 5?
Really? Who?
No, probably not.
Not 5. You can't name 5.
Sure. Woody Guthrie?
Well, okay, you're going way back. All right. You saw
Arlo Guthrie?
Was Arlo a folk singer? I guess. Yeah.
Bob Dylan?
Bob Dylan, yeah.
Joni Mitchell?
Not a folk singer.
Oh, yes.
I'd say she was a songwriter more than anything else. I don't think those were folk songs. Both Sides Now, is that a folk song? Nah.
Circle Game?
Well, yeah, but she did a whole bunch of stuff, and some of it may have fit into that category. But
some of it was jazz.
Yeah. She wasn't that. I can name well, let's see here. Pat Skye I named, and Dave Van Ronk, and
Joan Baez.
Joan Baez, folk singer. Yeah, I never could stand her music, by the way. Never.
No, me neither.
Never. Everybody said, "Oh, Joan Baez, what a great folk singer," and I'm going, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, me too. I felt the same way.
All she did would go, she was, anyway, so I'm sitting in the bar, and Van Ronk comes in. And he sits down at the bar, and he says, "So tell me what happened, kid." And I said, "Well, I went home, and then she came home, and then she said she's leaving me, and I left the house, and here I am. And I'm depressed because our marriage has come to an end." And he
Right.
goes, "Well, I have a suggestion for you." I said, "What?" He said, "Right now, go back home and kick her in the cunt." That was Dave Van Ronk's advice on how to handle my divorce.
Well, that's one way of handling it.
Yeah, absolutely. All
right, so that's wife number 2. Who was wife number 3?
I got another story about the breakup with wife number 2. I never bought her a wedding ring. Oh, and I bought her a wedding ring. And as she's leaving, she's just hitting me with everything, right? In fact, the only time I ever hit a woman was that night, because she was getting me so insane with just her constant, while she's packing, she'd go, "And then you did this, and then you did that, and then you did this, and then you did that." And finally, I just hold off and open hand slapped her. I did a Will Smith slap.
Okay.
And I always felt really guilty about it. In fact, years later, I was still apologizing for it to her, because it's the only time I ever hit anybody. But she just was driving me so crazy with this endless assault of everything I had ever done wrong that I couldn't hang on. I couldn't hold on to it any longer.
Well, I hit a woman once, much like the same. We were breaking up. We were living together. We were breaking up, and she took a hammer to all the prints I had that were in glass, and she smashed them all.
Yeah.
And then she threw stuff at me.
Yeah.
And then she came charging toward me. And I sidestepped her. And as she went by, I cuffed the back of her head. Open-handed, cuffed the back of her head. And she took off like Superman.
No,
and
really?
started screaming bloody murder.
Oh yeah, you brute. Yeah.
Right.
I had a girlfriend like that when she would go to hit me, and I'd like grab her hand to keep her from the blow, and then she would twist her arm doing it, and she'd go, "You brute! You hurt me!"
Right.
But anyway, getting back to the night we broke up, one of the things she says in this assault on me is, "And you never put an inscription on our wedding ring, on my wedding ring." For years, she'd been asking me to take it out and have it something inscribed on it, on the interior of the van.
Right, I know what you mean.
Which was very common in those days. I don't know if people do it now. But I said, well, listen, I just never could come up with what I wanted. And the other day, I actually came up with the idea of what to put it on in there. And she says, "Oh, really? Well, what were you going to put inscribe in the ring?" I said, "Number 2 of a series."
I'm sure she appreciated that.
I got silence after that. I didn't have to hear her yelling at me. And she left, and I was single again. So, did we go to number 3 with you? We got to number 3 with you, right? No.
Number 3 is the redhead.
The redhead, right. And
here's the funny thing, is I dated her before I married wife number 2. Right?
Yeah.
And then I married wife number 2, and then I got back to Jerry, the redhead, and we got married. And we were married for a number of years. I don't know exactly how many, but it had to be at least 10. And I got clean during that time. And when I had 5 years clean, she gave me divorce papers.
Aren't you supposed to get some kind of little coin or something after 5 years?
Right, I got divorce papers.
You got divorce papers. Now, okay, so why did number 2 divorce? Well, number 1 cheated on you. Number 2, why did
number 2 was my fault. I was clean and I relapsed.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that was my fault. That was drugs.
I don't blame her. Who can live with a junkie? Okay.
Right.
I mean, really.
Right.
Let's see. Ronnie left me because I cheated on her a lot. I did. What happened was here's what happened, and I think you can appreciate this. Between the time that I married Ronnie and the time that we divorced, I became rather well known as a radio personality.
Right.
And all of a sudden, women were throwing themselves at me, and I was this insecure kid who never had to really work hard to get laid.
Right.
And all of a sudden,
I was the same way, Alex. I was the same way.
Yeah. Women were throwing themselves at me, and I couldn't resist it.
That's like during the early 80s when we were doing your show on the Quake, and we were doing shows everywhere at the Warfield, at the Fillmore. We were doing shows, big shows, and I had women approaching me for the first time in my life.
Yep, and it becomes a major temptation. There's no question.
It becomes like a drug.
Yeah. So anyway, years later, Ronnie and I touched base again. And eventually, she became a very close friend. She, in fact, appeared on this program a lot from her place in Portland, Oregon, before she died. And I apologized to her. I said, I apologize. I said that was a bad time for you to decide to marry me. Because I'm an insecure kid, and all of a sudden I got all these women throwing themselves at me, and what can I do about it? So, and I was weak-willed, and I always felt that was my fault. Number 3 was Susan. Susan was a wonderful woman, very educated woman. Parents fled Europe during the Holocaust and came to this country. and were part of what they call a Jewish Socialist Bund. They were Jewish Socialist Bundists. And they were very much, for instance, they were against the state of Israel. They didn't believe in its existence, that it didn't go with their core philosophy. And their core philosophy was no more things like what happened to us in Germany. We can't have all Jews in one place,
right,
where they can get us.
Right.
Okay. We have to go into a diaspora, but take our culture with us. And that included the Yiddish language, that included music, that included literature, all of that. So they were very educated people and a very tough bunch of people. They fought during the war in the underground. You know, they would do a Yom Kippur thing. They weren't particularly religious, but they would get together and have a Passover Seder. And you would have all these people telling stories about, oh, yeah, when I was fighting with the underground, and some little short woman, you know, would be telling me how she killed 5 Nazis, you know. And so she came from that kind of stock. And she was a child actress in the Yiddish theater here in New York.
Oh, really?
Spoke perfect Yiddish, fluent Yiddish, and very bright, very smart, and I think pretty sexy. I mean, she looked like, to me, she reminded me of Elizabeth Taylor. She had that, that kind of look, you know, dark hair, you know, beautiful features, and big tits. So, you know, that was, and we started to, what happened was, I was out of work at the time, or was I out of work? Yeah, I was out of work at the time, doing Midnight Blue. And we found ourselves broke. And she said, well, what can we do to earn some money? I said, let's get married, and everybody will want to give us presents, and we'll say, instead of presents, send us money.
Right.
And so that's the reason we got married. But you know, she was a wonderful woman, but what happened with her, she got a drug problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she got a drug problem, and that was, you know, that was pretty terrible. And it even got at one point to heroin, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's still alive. She weighs 300 pounds or something. She's always not well, but she's still alive, you know, and I talk to her occasionally.
Right.
But that broke up because I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take the... it happened while I was still, I think it was still happening when I was at the quake is when it happened. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I've made up with all of my exes. I have a decent relationship with all of them.
Well, I get along with all of mine except the first one, who I don't even know where she is.
Right.
You know, I have no idea if I had to find her tomorrow. I mean, if she's alive, I don't know where to find her.
Right.
So, but I'm Ronnie to her death about a year ago. We were very close. I mean, you know, as close as you can be being this far away from each other. And
right, I'm in the same town now again with my first wife.
Oh, really?
Because this is where I went to high school.
Yeah.
So we have lunch every week or so. Every other week or every week we have lunch together.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
So anyway, which one did you get the best sex from? You can say this because I can't say it because I'm still married. You know, and if she isn't number one, then you know,
you're not getting any.
Did you marry them for sex? Well, the first one you married because she would have been your girlfriend forever. The second one, did you marry for sex?
Yes.
Okay. And the third one, did you marry for sex?
Not so much.
Really?
Not so much.
And that should have been far more successful because the ones you marry for sex, I mean, sex eventually dissipates. Right. It's never as good. So Ronnie one time said to me, "Why do you feel this compulsion to have sex with other women?" And I said, "Because I said, you're everything to me. You're everything to me. But the one thing you aren't is somebody else."
Right. I get you.
You know, and there's something about
I do know
somebody else that makes it makes it attractive. You know, and it may be good for a couple of times, and then it's on to the next woman. You know.
Right.
But the first time is sensational. You pursued.
Right, and the first time, it's just a one-night stand. You sleep with them twice, and it's a relationship in their mind.
Right. So what have we proved out of all of this discussion we're having here? That we're failing. Well, the fourth time I got married was to Marjorie, and
how long have you been married?
We've been married 11 years now.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, and it's
Where'd
fun.
you meet her?
Online.
Are you serious?
JDate. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we get paid by JDate monthly, not to reveal that, because they feel it will hurt business if we say that we met on JDate. So it's a joke. Well,
it's a joke.
It's not a very funny joke. It's not really a joke if I have to tell you it's a joke and then you laugh.
Right. Right.
Hey, listen, we've run out of time here.
Have we really?
Yeah, we should do this.
This was a good one.
We should do this again next week.
All right.
Okay. Stay where you are. I want to talk to you after this is over. That's Stephen Kravitz, ladies and gentlemen.
This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 7th year. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Let me turn on my lights. There we go. Now I'm all lit up, or something like that. As the term goes. Is the term all lit up? I have no idea. Anyway, that's the wonderful and talented Steve Kravitz, and we'll have him on again next week. Basically, and one of the basic reasons is I already recorded another one with him, which we're going to play next week. We do this stuff like early in the day. I do it like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And anyway, so here I am, folks, and I'm not really happy tonight because I told you about the friend that we had, the friends we had. And they had been with each other since college. They'd been married since college. And he died today, finally. I say finally because he was hanging in there. And, it's funny when people die like that and they've gone through a long illness, you're kind of relieved. You kind of feel better for them. And also the people they left behind, because they had been suffering with this thing for a couple of years, and it was getting worse and worse and worse, and everybody knew it wasn't going to get any better. And so I was kind of sad, and if I feel a little morose tonight, it's because of that. Also, it's another person I know who has died. Anyway, let's talk to our citizen panel here. Let's bring them on here. There's Kevin, and there is Owner. Why do you call yourself Owner?
It will not correct. I don't have the app on my computer.
You got to remember, I am not in the best of shape when it comes to memory. So if I don't have your name down there,
it's Jason.
I know it's Jason, but I could forget somewhere during the show.
I'm not the best at memory either.
Oh, really? Anyway, thanks for joining us, Jason. Good to have you here. Better known as Owner. Kevin. Hello to Kevin. Hello to Jeff. And hello
How are you?
Fine. And hello to Josh Wheeler. And hello to Alan. In the beginning, we had Josh Wheeler just waiting here, and I thought maybe he'd be the only one on. But I could live with that because we talk a lot not on the program as well. And he's a very interesting and smart person, as is Kevin, the other guy I talk to when we're not on the air. We have a secret cabal, I think. What would we call it? Well, you had been doing it for years, right, Josh?
Yeah, it has been going on for quite a while, yeah.
Yeah. And it was like Kevin, and it's Patrick, and it's Josh, and it's myself. And I insinuated myself upon them and said, do you mind if I join? And Josh, because it was his thing that he ran, said, no, I don't mind. But we never broadcast it. And really we should, because it's sometimes it's the most intelligent 2 hours you'll ever hear on the internet. But
It's not bad.
Well, I think the reason why it is so good is precisely because we don't air it. And so everyone feels they can say what they feel, without fear of retribution by some woke people who want to say, remember when you said blah, blah, blah? So.
Yeah.
We
can make fun of Vladdy Pooty Poot.
Yeah, Vladdy Poot Poot. Yeah. Didn't Trump call him Poot Poot? Something like that?
He might have.
Poot Poot. Something like that.
Might be his pet name for him or something. He probably still does. I don't know.
Piss on me a little bit more, Pooty Poot.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He probably still calls him that in the little love letters he writes him.
Hey, Alex, you're the only one they can see on YouTube.
Oh, something? This happens occasionally. Well, I don't want them to see this ugly crowd. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. There we go. I'm sorry, everybody. God, thank you very much, Kevin.
That was Brian telling me.
I was doing everything perfectly tonight. All the stuff was going off just fine, and then, of course, I go into that, and I forget to do this. So... Anyway,
it's all your fault.
Yeah, there they are, folks. There's Kevin, and there's Jeff, and there's Jason, and there's Josh, and there's Alan. And if anybody else would like to call, you're welcome to do so. If you don't want to call, in the immortal words of my mother, fuck you. So, what have you. So what's new, guys?
Well, we had our doctor on the phone tonight.
Your doctor on the phone tonight?
Yeah, to see if I'm alive.
What do you mean? What's the problem?
Did your machine call him?
A lot of the drugs that they started giving me some.
Mm-hmm.
And now the doctor said, why don't you cut them in half? So...
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing too. I think I'm taking too many wrong ones, and I really next time I go to see my guy for the yearly, I'm going to talk to him about each one of them and say, do I need this one? Do I need this one? Do I need this one? Because they can doctors will start filling you up with pills, especially when you're older. They just figure, you're an old fart. What the hell? Sure, we can give you some heroin. How's it going to hurt you?
It's so funny because I was just watching an episode of The Resident, medical show.
Yeah,
and that was like the theme of the episode I was watching. It was an older lady taking too many drugs.
I was going to bring that up, but nobody here watches The Resident except you and I. Okay.
It's a good show.
Yeah, but they brought that up, that this woman came in and she had a lot of different medicines that she was taking, and one was canceling out the other, and doctors kept piling these drugs on top of her. And
the first thing I said, well, if you want to get rid of that side effect, just smoke some weed.
Well, that's a good answer too, But by the way, they have ads on TV now. How to responsibly use marijuana. They're not telling us, hey, if you smoke it, here's how to responsibly use it, And they said, make sure that you don't have other people imbibe in it, by osmosis. Yes, Alan.
This is my medical group. So I woke up this morning and my big toe on one foot was hurting.
Gout.
Yeah, God, that's what everybody says.
Gout.
Anybody else ever have this problem?
No.
Yes.
I have a toe that goes bad, but it's because I have neuropathy.
Yeah, well. Part of getting older, I guess.
Well, part of getting older was today. I went to take a 1 mile walk, and it was like everything I had to do to keep going. It was just terrible. Just terrible.
And then spent my afternoon signing loan documents for my refinance on my house.
Yeah, well, you see what I did. What I did was I went out and took a walk today, and I just went, I just haven't taken much of a walk lately. That's the problem. And because of that, oops, wait a minute, something's up there in the picture, folks.
Be careful walking. We don't want to see you fall.
Well, do you know who fell? Did you hear about this?
No.
Fell, had to have stitches in his head, was knocked out by the falling down.
Who?
David Letterman.
Oh, I thought it was somebody important.
David Letterman.
I didn't hear that. I haven't seen the news today.
Yeah, he apparently he was walking and he tripped and fell and he concussed.
How old is he?
He's younger than I am. I think he's 74, maybe. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Echo, how old is David Letterman?
David Letterman is 74 years old.
See? That's right. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
She knows everything. You know, I could probably ask her about the theory of relativity. Wait a minute, let me see here. Echo, explain the theory of relativity. Echo.
Give you a website.
Explain the theory of relativity.
According to Wikipedia, the theory of relativity usually encompasses two interrelated theories by Albert Einstein, special relativity and general relativity, proposed and published in 1905 and 1915, respectively. Special relativity applies to all physical phenomena in the absence of gravity. General relativity explains the law of gravitation and its relation to other forces of nature.
What about string theory?
Echo, stop. You want to know? Echo, what is string theory?
According to Wikipedia, in physics, string theory is a theoretical framework in which the point-like particles of particle physics are replaced by one-dimensional objects called strings. String theory describes how these strings propagate through space and interact with each other.
Okay, see? You can ask her anything.
Sounds right. Sounds right.
Didn't even get to vibration.
She's very smart.
I wonder if she knows about fluid hydraulics and stuff like that.
I don't want to ask her that. I'm
joking.
I just looked over at her and the machine, what do you call it, the screen image, sweating. That's how difficult it is. But anyway, so did anybody, you know what they did today? Today was a big day in Washington, D.C. as the President of the United States held another one of his little touchy-feely get-togethers for the new Supreme Court judge. And all I could feel as I was watching it is that it was a publicity vehicle for the president. Did anybody see this thing?
About 10 seconds.
Part of it.
And I switched it right off.
Yeah.
Because who cares?
Yeah. But I mean, here's a guy who took a black woman years ago when Clarence Thomas was running for the Supreme Court and completely eviscerated her. You know, a decent jurist, lawyer, whatever. And he eviscerated her. And today he's going, oh, you see, I put a black woman on the Supreme Court. Yeah, but, you should have listened to her. I mean, he's turned out to be a real prize, So
white liberal guilt going after the woman accusing the first, the black man who was going to vote for her.
I forget her name. What was her name?
Anita Hill.
Anita Hill. I often felt that he should have appointed her to the Supreme Court. I think he owed her that. And just so that every day when Clarence Thomas went to work, he would have to look at this woman. So anyway, that was my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
I just don't understand. They keep on saying, which I it's gonna sound bad, but like they keep on, we need to make the court look like America. So I get you should have minorities on there of all different backgrounds and everything, but why it's just that it's like only the black minority on the court matters.
Well, if you really want it to look like America, where's the jurist on there with a mullet? So. But I got a little tired of that too. But we want it to look like America. I'm sorry, no matter how hard you try, it's never going to look like America because, as I said, nobody's wearing a mullet, nobody's scratching his crotch. I mean, it's all just these these people who had enough money to go to law school. All right. Anyway. I mean, whoever, Josh, do you feel the Supreme Court represents the average American?
And I mean, average, I don't know that I'd say average because, Well, I mean, I don't know, maybe a little. I mean, there are a few of the justices that did not come from privileged backgrounds. And I don't think coming from a privileged background, means that you don't know how to work hard or experience, failure or depression or guilt or anything else. But I mean, her background, I don't think, if I remember, I don't think she grew up very wealthy or anything like that.
No, she didn't.
No. I don't remember, like, I think Justice Scalia's upbringing was fairly, average to below blue collar, type of things.
Yeah.
But they all still ended up, at Ivy League schools and all that. I mean, I think of the last maybe, 35, 40, 50 years maybe, there's only been like one justice that didn't attend one of the Ivy League law schools. And that was, I can't remember. He just died a few years ago, and he went to Northwestern, and Northwestern is maybe like the top non-Ivy League law school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, it wasn't like he went to, community college.
Well, the thing
which there's nothing wrong with. I'm just saying.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this. Do you have to be a lawyer in order to be on the Supreme Court? That's not a prerequisite, is it?
No. There's really no requirement.
Yeah,
for anything. I mean, they can nominate really anyone they want.
Mm-hmm.
So far as the Senate consents, the requirement really is that you are consented to by the Senate. I mean, that's really the main requirement.
Yeah.
And that would almost be a nice thing if they had like a jury duty type of appointment where it's just done by a lottery and an average citizen could get in there. Maybe there is some type of interview process just to find out, you're not, a moron, you can understand.
I mean, I think that not having someone who is not a trained lawyer would be, not good, because I mean, I think that, an understanding of the law and experience within it is a requirement for me,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not constitutionally required. In the early days, there were people that, didn't really practice law or anything like that sat on the court, but that was also a time when almost anyone who was prominent was either an attorney or, a merchant. I mean, there were really only two high profile, or was in the military,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was a little bit more spread out then, but we do sort of have like these, all the justices for the last, 5 or 6 decades are all really in the same mold, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're all cut from the same cloth, but maybe just different parts of it.
Right.
I mean, we are definitely trying to get, a better mixture of male versus female, or
we're pretty close now. We got 4 women to 5 guys.
Right.
That's about
and in 10 years from now, they'll be crying for someone to be put on the court who's non-binary. I mean, I'm serious,
Well, somebody explain to me non-binary.
That's what it'll be, though. I mean,
I saw this. I tell you, I was trying to get a new pass for the subway for seniors, okay? And you had to fill out the form, and it had my name, blah, blah, blah. And then it said sex. It said male, female, non-binary. And I don't know. I may be non-binary and not even know
at your
it.
age, Alex, wouldn't it be non-binary? Because how much sex do you have anymore?
Yeah, right. But what does non-binary mean?
You don't identify as a man or a woman. You identify as a they.
As a they. Okay, from here on in, you can treat me as a they. Okay.
I mean, that'll be there soon. I'm sure. But all the justices now they're all in the same mold. I mean, like I said, we're spreading it a little better amongst male or female.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to get it all with different races and things like that. But I mean, they all pretty much took the same path.
Mm-hmm.
They basically all go to 4 or 5 different colleges, and things like that. But I don't know that there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
It's just, I mean, that's the finest training in the interpretation of law in the land. So,
Well,
I mean, you know, why not pick one?
Well, let's see. Let me ask Tony. Tony, are you non-binary?
No, I'll just go as male. But I was going to ask you something. I went walking with my sister.
But
She's a school teacher.
if you saw male, female, check off one and non-binary.
I would check off male.
I would check non-binary just for the hell of it. I mean,
but you want to laugh, Alex? Listen to this. My sister teaches elementary school, and when the kids come in, she teaches the higher learning kids. So they're really smart, these kids. So when they come into the room, she says, my sister just says, good morning, boys and girls. So the I guess her superior called them all together for a meeting, like all the
You
teachers.
can't say that anymore.
Yeah, you can't. We recommend you don't say that. Say, good morning, friends. My sister's like, what?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
What grade?
You're
What grade does she teach?
She teaches second grade.
Listen,
I thought she was joking to me, Jason.
It's-
She said, no, we were walking. I'm telling you the truth.
It's like
she
my
didn't get reprimanded, but she said,
okay, but it's like
Yeah,
my
yeah.
father used to say to me. He said, "I'm your father. I'm not your friend."
Right.
He said, "I hate parents who tell their kids, 'Hey, I'm your friend.' No, I can't be your friend because I'm your father, and I have to make sure you do everything right. And that takes away my authority by saying I'm your friend, right? So your teacher having to say that in class diminishes her,
She was taken back by it. Like,
Should be good morning, students.
Yeah, but anybody
Class.
anybody disagree with me? It minimizes her authority.
It kind of does cheapen it, like, really.
Yeah, it cheapens her authority. Yeah.
Alex, she has one kid. I gotta send. When I go over to visit Shecky, she sends me like her. Sometimes she can record like their work. This kid is in second grade. He can do almost fractions already.
You always talk about going over to see Shecky, and I know for a fact you've only been over there a couple of times in the last year.
I got there a couple of times, yeah.
Yeah, but all the time you say, "Well, I'm going out to Shecky's
I know. I have
next.
to go back. Ever since COVID hit,
I'm going next.
But Alex, so who's visited him more?
Oh, I still got him beat.
I probably visited him more. Yeah.
I don't know. You'd have to ask him.
I mean, it's been the trouble we've had has been COVID.
Yeah.
And I have a problem getting out there to him because every time I'm about ready to take a subway, they say, "Well, there's a flare up."
Yeah.
And then I don't
Did you
go.
ever fix his door handle from your last visit?
Oh, shut up. No.
You brought it up on the show.
I didn't break it. It just
brought
it was
it up
ready
on
to
the
be
show.
broken.
You got ready to be broken.
It was. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
I went to high school.
If I was out there, I'd fix it for you.
I don't know.
Can you? He tried gluing it with
No,
super
you go
glue.
out buy another one for about $20 and fix it.
Really? Because they want to charge him $500 to replace it.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
A handle on a door?
It's the
$500?
it's the indoor
Interior or
handle.
exterior?
Interior.
Interior.
Holy Jesus, $25, man.
2 screws, take off the panel, replace the part, put the panel back on, put the armrest back
Listen,
on.
I'll fly you out from California, and then we'll go out to Shecky's, and you
Cost you
can do it.
$500.
I mean, it's that easy, huh? I'll tell them that.
It's not that hard.
I mean, I don't know
What
how
kind
to
of car
do
is
it. What?
What kind of car is it?
It's a what is it? Do you know what his car is?
I forgot.
I forgot what he said.
I think maybe it's a Honda. Is that?
Oh yeah, it is a
It's very easy. It's just a little plastic latch.
Yeah.
And it's held in there with a couple of screws, and there's a little arm that goes on it, and it clips on with an arm, and
I'll have to look at it carefully when I go out there next
you know
time.
what you do? You go to YouTube, look up the model of the car, how to replace the latch on it, and it'll tell you just how to do it. You could probably do it just by going to YouTube.
Yeah, but if I go out there and I do it for him, because he won't do it. He just won't do it. That's not in his wheelhouse.
Tony will go over there and do it.
But
I'm not handy like that.
he won't do it. I could probably look it up on YouTube. I could probably see how to do
Pretty
it.
handy,
Okay,
Yeah.
and then I can go out there and do it for him. But the fact is that if I screw up, then I'm never going to hear the end of it.
Yeah.
You'll be getting in the car like Robin through the window. Remember, just leave the window down.
Yeah, yeah.
I take it Shecky's Jewish.
Huh?
I take it Shecky is Jewish.
Yes.
That's why you never hear the end of it?
Well, I mean, you know, he brings it up every now and then.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You know.
Sorry, I brought it
I got a couple more items here that I always put them in the printer, and then I never remove them from the printer till I'm doing the show. Did you hear about? Did I mention this last night about Jimmy Kimmel and Marjorie Taylor Greene? And the fact
I don't know, but I saw it.
The other night he was on and he was talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, and he said, "Where's Will Smith when you need him?" Okay. She immediately turned.
That's violence against women.
Turned Kimmel into the Capitol Police.
Yeah.
The very people she voted against for them to get money for injuries and so on from the 6th of January of last year.
Then Matt Gaetz got involved and everybody.
And Matt Gaetz got involved and everybody. And what did he say to Matt Gaetz? He wrote Matt Gaetz a tweet. And
it was something like Matt Gaetz said that she would have his way with him, and then he said, "Oh, what the hell did he say?" It was funny.
No, what he said was, "Oh yeah, why don't you stay at home and order out for Girl Scout cookies?"
Yeah, he said, "Stay away from Girl Scouts are out selling cookies right now."
Yeah. But anyway, so the Marjorie Taylor Greene was turned him into the Capitol Police, who promptly never even called Kimmel. You know, I mean, she's a piece of work. She really is. She's amazing. Did you see where
they showed a picture of her with her machine gun and her billboard in the back, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene for Senate or something.
Yeah.
Her machine gun in her hand.
Anyway, Greg Abbott, who is the wonderful governor of the state of Texas, Florida, rather. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Governor Greg Abbott. Oh, wait a minute. Texas governor. I'm reading. Let me start this over again. Hey, I have some items here. Would you like to hear them?
Yes,
let me. I think this would help. All right. Ron DeSantis, who's the governor of Florida, appeared locked in competition. Who can best channel the latest free-floating right-wing grievance into state policy? This is from Vanity Fair. Greg Abbott or Ron DeSantis. The rules of the game are very simple. Every time one of these governors releases a salvo into the nation's culture wars, the other has to match it or exceed it. All right? Voting rights, the pandemic, reproductive rights. Now, on Wednesday, Abbott announced, you ready for this? He plans to bus undocumented immigrants to the steps of the United States Capitol as a kind of protest against the Biden border disaster. To help local officials whose communities are being overwhelmed by hordes of illegal immigrants. There's just one slight caveat in all of this. The, what do you call it? The people, the undocumented immigrants, have to agree to take the trip to Washington, D.C. And I don't think he's going to get any of them to do that. And then, of course, we've got the whole problem with...
I got a comment, but it's probably going to be really bad.
What?
I said I would make a comment, but it'd probably sound really bad.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
No.
No. Go ahead.
It's being recorded. I'm not going to say it.
You can't.
Hey, you're not employed, man. You don't have to be careful. I do.
I'll move on.
No, all I'm saying is don't tease us like that. Yeah. Don't say, well, I have something to say, but I'm not going to say it because, and then I'm going, boy, that must really be good.
I retracted.
Oh, you retracted.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Let me see here. So, by the way, did you know Beto O'Rourke is running against Abbott in Texas? And
yes.
it's
there's a chance he could win.
It's neck and neck.
Yeah,
it's neck and neck.
I don't think so.
Wouldn't that be great?
Well, who wants that guy in the state house? To begin with, you got to build all these guys. You got to spend a fortune on ramps for him being governor. Okay, and I just think that's a slight. Why don't we do a thing in Texas and just make it illegal to have handicapped ramps?
I'd probably pass down there.
Yeah, I don't think
You can't make me do shit.
Yeah. What?
But Beto, he's a dweeb too.
Well, he's our dweeb. You know?
Yeah, well, you know, some dweebs need to grow up and understand how old they are, and there's consequences with things you say.
Yeah, I guess. But, you know.
Better than Greg Abbott.
Better than, Abbott is terrible. He is just horrible.
I'm surprised that Abbott, DeSantis, and Trump don't all run for something.
Yeah. Did you see it also in, where was it? Was it Oklahoma where the governor was, they were planning on, in Michigan, where they were planning on kidnapping the governor. Yeah.
Nobody got prosecuted.
Nobody got prosecuted.
I saw that.
Well, did they put it to trial? Did it go to trial?
Yeah, the jury came back, and two of them, it was a hung jury, and two of them were found innocent.
Okay, so the hung jury guys can be retried.
Yes, and then there was also another two who pled guilty.
Yes, aren't they?
Earlier, and now they're state witnesses.
Yeah, but aren't they about to say, hey, we shouldn't have done that because we probably would have gotten off?
Right. Why the fuck did I... Yeah. Hey, but it's just, that's what kills me is, so these guys had a plan to kidnap the governor already.
Yeah.
And then the FBI got involved. But yet the FBI was the one who led them to come to their plan to kidnap the governor.
Say that again.
The FBI got involved because there was a group of people who were planning to kidnap the governor.
Yeah.
But yet apparently it was the FBI's idea for them to kidnap the governor, so they got off.
Yeah. Well, they got off because I think they proved to the jury that it was just whimsical talking about it. They were just talking about it.
Because stoners are known to be violent, and stoners are known to be plotting to kill and kidnap people, because stoners have that much motivation to go out and do shit.
Well, you sit around in your house, getting stoned.
You can talk a lot of stuff.
You're sitting there on the couch, and then you go, hey, why don't we go kidnap the governor?
Yeah, but you don't actually build explosives and go out to shooting ranges and go surveil people's houses, do all the other stuff, because stoners are lazy and they don't do shit.
Yeah. Well, maybe those guys should be sent, should be thrown out of their, out of Michigan, and forced to live in Texas,
I think
where there's another governor they can go after down there. Oh, did I just suggest something? Hello, Brian. How you doing?
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Packing, ready to go on vacation for a week.
Oh, really? You're not going to be here next week?
I'm gonna try.
Oh, you're gonna.
Monday we'll be on the cruise ship, so I'll try to call in from there.
Really, Shecky has tried to do that, and it's pretty hard. They have lousy Wi-Fi on cruise ships.
Yeah, they try to charge you extra for everything. So.
Yeah, but you're loaded, so you can afford it.
With the job field that you're in, you're going on a cruise ship.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you just take that petri dish at your work and just set up camp right in it?
Do a couple lines of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you going, Brian?
Going to Mexican Riviera.
Oh.
The Mexican.
It sounds so exotic, but it's just.
No, it's the Riviera, but it's the Mexican.
The Riviera con Mexico.
Well, the good thing is over 80% of the Mexicans are vaccinated. You'll be fine.
That's so Mexican.
Mexican Riviera.
Wait a minute. So are you taking the entire family?
Yes, we had this cruise planned before COVID, and then COVID hit. So we I hung on to the credits, and now they are everything's 35% off of everything. So we upgraded the room, we got all these extras, and now we still have $2,000 worth of credit. So so we're doing good.
Maybe we can get one of them free buses back to DC and get a free trip.
What has she got? What is she doing? What's she playing with? What is that, Adrian?
It's Adrian.
Slime.
What?
Slime.
It's called slime. So it's
slime.
like the kids' new Play-Doh.
Oh, yeah. Well, slime's been around for a while. Yeah. Are you having fun with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, until she drops it
and it gets stuck in the rug, and yeah. You have to.
I pull a Will Smith.
Yeah. Now, Will Smith is another big story today. The Academy has said that he's barred from going to any Oscar ceremonies for 10 years.
But he can still get nominated and win.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. He's not barred from being a nominee. You know, it's just when they go,
Would he be able to
and the
be
winner
nominated
is
since he
Will
quit?
Smith. Somebody else is going to have to go up and get the award for him.
Jada.
Jada.
I was going to say something, but it might be off color.
G.I. Jane.
Chris Rock will get it.
Well, Jada's still allowed to go, I guess.
Well, why 10 years? I mean, so 10 years, he can come back.
He quit the Academy. He quit the Academy.
So now that he quit, could he actually be nominated and win? because
Yes.
He quit?
Yes, he can. But not being a member of the Academy, I think he can't buy tickets to the Oscars. Unless he wants to be way up in the balcony somewhere. You know?
No, he's like barred from going to being at any of their events for 10 years.
Events?
Yes.
Yeah, that's his events. Yeah.
Oh, gee, then he can't go to the Vanity Fair party?
Oh my God.
Or are those private parties?
Anything that's to deal with that, he can't go to.
I think they just, they had to do something because they were embarrassed because they didn't do anything at the time.
Yeah.
You know, how many think that that's right, that he shouldn't be able to go for 10 years? I go, it's kind of like Biden going after Putin and saying we're going to take away your driver's license or your credit cards or something. It doesn't really mean much. So does Will Smith go, oh, I can hardly wait for the Oscars every year?
Well, if he's nominated, then he would be. If he's nominated, he might be, but I don't know.
There's a clip.
I'm sorry.
What?
No, it's okay. There's a clip of Chris Rock when he hosted, and he was talking about how Adrian. He wants me to tell you that she made the slime. Okay, now get out.
Okay.
So,
Congratulations,
Sparkles.
There's a clip of Chris Rock when he was doing that, and he was ripping on Jada and Will Smith for not making it. And he made some kind of joke after it.
Well, what it was that was the year that Jada Pinkett Smith said she wasn't going to go to the Oscars because it wasn't inclusive enough. And so she didn't go, and neither did Will, because he, as we all know and we've seen, he's pussy whipped. Okay. Yeah. He did that, and they didn't go. So he made a joke about that, about her not being there. And I can't remember. I can't remember what the joke was right now, but
yeah, it was stupid.
Well, the thing was that she got a hold of him, and he was hosting the Oscars that year, and told him that he shouldn't host the Oscars. And he said, "But you're complaining that it isn't inclusive enough, and what's more inclusive than hosting the Oscars? If you want inclusion, then you gotta want me to go out there and do the best job I possibly can." But no, she wanted him to not, boycott the Oscars.
Yeah, he made a comment. Chris Rock says something like, "It's like me boycotting one of those girls, Penny, because I've never been invited." So he was just ripping on like that stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, where were we? Oh, I don't know. I got these things. And I looked at the other one and I went, why did I print that out? Why did I think that was important?
Jason, where's your favorite place to go? Over there.
Really, I love the Moon Palace.
The Moon Palace.
It's so expensive now, though. Like, I just freaking looked at their website to go for a week. It was $11,000.
What's the Moon Palace?
Wow. It's a hotel resort. It's the largest all-inclusive resort in the Americas.
Oh, really?
But
what do you mean?
Playa de Carmen, I'm sorry, was it is it Playa de Carmen?
Playa de Carmen? Yeah.
Cozumel, I love them all, man. And it's so awesome, I think, to go around there too and go see some of the pyramids. when I was growing up, I only thought of pyramids being in Egypt. Didn't realize that there was pyramids in the Americas too. And it's awesome. Actually, being able to climb them and
so Chichen Itza, we went. That's probably where you're talking about, Chichen Itza.
I've never been to Chichen Itza. It's too touristy, but you can't climb it.
Yes, exactly.
I ate pizza in Chichen Itza.
After high school, a bunch of us went a few times, and you were able to climb them there. And now they have it. They used to have that big chain, and you used to be able to climb and then back down, and you can see right over all the forest there. Yeah, I find out. Yeah, like you're saying, the last I don't know how many years they don't let you climb. It's all roped off now.
It's awesome to climb it, but scary as fuck to go down them.
Yeah, because the brick, and I have big pieces. The bricks are like this, and you're holding onto the chain, and people are trying to go up.
But then, you ever been in a cenote?
No.
Dude, the cenotes are awesome. The underground caves or whatever, basically underground lake. They're pretty sweet.
Yeah, we went down to what's the country down there where they also
Belize?
have Belize.
You went to Belize, right?
Yeah, we went to Belize, and we went to some of the pyramids or whatever they call them, but they aren't that terrific in Belize. They're okay, but they're not nothing.
I think they got some good ones there, but then Guatemala or whatever, and then Mexico, but the Mayan pyramids, there's some that are pretty freaking sweet, man. They're pretty big, and you see it and just realize, this thing's like almost 2,000 years old, and it's this big.
Yeah, and then there's one over there in Chichen Itza. You can actually go in, and you can see how there was another pyramid underneath. And then what they would do is when they would come and overtake you to show their power, they would build a pyramid over yours, on top.
And there's one that's I think it's El Castillo, which I think is funny too, because the Mexican side of my family is Castillo, and it was a dome. It was their what the hell, to basically track the stars and everything. It was their telescope back in the day. It was really awesome, because almost you compare that El Castillo to modern day telescopes, the building looks a lot similar.
Wow. Well, I don't know. We have to go on a vacation, and I don't know where. And
you need to. We need to.
Yeah, although we're less flush with money now than we used to be, because this legal action has gutted us. But I mean, we still have money, and so we've got to take a nice vacation. I want to go to Europe. I like Europe, but right now it's number one, it's very expensive. I mean, it's incredibly expensive, and secondly, there's still a lot of places they won't let you in.
Go to Russia. Here, the ruble is really easy.
Yeah, they're really happy. Maybe I could go to the Ukraine.
They'll pay you to come.
It's what they call a fixer-upper vacation. I mean, it's so terrible. I'm sorry to put you in a position where I'm downing you, but geez almighty, what's going on in Ukraine is just insane.
I fucking hit a train station today. That just pissed me off.
Yeah, they hit a train station.
Oh, that's a military target.
Yeah.
Well, they're fucking find them motherfuckers.
Hey, I'm for the no-fly zone now.
Yeah.
I think Ukraine ought to start firing missiles into Russia.
I was so happy when they hit a fucking gas depot.
Yeah.
I was, the Russians were like, oh, you can't hit us. We can only bomb you.
Yeah, you can't
bomb us back.
Yeah, you can't hit Russia.
That particular missile was a guided missile that could be hit within 300 feet from 75 miles away, and they hit a fucking train station. We're trying to get out of.
Obviously not an accident.
With a scatter bomb.
The whole thing is, I just don't understand. Isn't there a thing called the Geneva Conventions? And isn't that a reason? I think we went into several countries over the years claiming that we were doing it for humanitarian reasons. Isn't that why we went into...
It's about time, I think.
Isn't that the reason we went into Iraq? Was humanitarian reasons? We used that as the excuse? And there, you know,
I don't know. It's just getting ridiculous over there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's time that we went in there, and I'm getting very mad at this president for not doing anything about it. Oh yeah, we're going to.
We're scared of Russia, but yet Russia can't take out a country the size of Texas within 10 minutes. We could do that within 10 minutes.
Well, you know, I've suggested on this program that Biden, when he was in Poland and 10 miles away from the Ukrainian border, should have slipped across the border and gone to see Walensky. Wait a minute. Everybody goes, oh, that isn't a good idea because there's a problem with that, blah, blah, blah. The fact of the matter is, you know who's thinking of going there and doing exactly that?
The Pope.
The Pope.
Yeah.
So if it's good enough for the Pope, isn't it good enough for one of his worshipers?
Yeah, but I bet the Pope's not a target like a U.S. president.
What do you mean?
The Catholic religion is pretty strong in Russia, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Do you think anybody would try and kill Biden? Do you think so?
Not. You know, he's got an insurance policy. It's called Kamala Harris. You know, does anybody want him to die in office? No. Could you imagine Kamala Harris being president?
Yes, I can. I think she'd do okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Better than Trump.
Well, anything's better than Trump.
Well,
what do
that's the reason why we voted for Biden, right?
Yeah.
It's the only guy who could beat him.
I mean, Josh, if something happened to Biden, which it could any day, you don't know. You know, at his age, it's all a crapshoot. My age, it's not only a crapshoot, it is a crapshoot. The question is, and she became president, how do you think she'd do, Josh?
I think she'd be adequate. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan, but I mean, in our system of government, you know, the republic would go on, and she would serve as a placeholder, and you know, execute the duties, maybe in ways we didn't like, but they would think it would get done. I mean,
but aren't there a lot of people in her government and the same party that think that she would not be a good placeholder?
I wonder how many presidents took on somebody scarier than, if you know, as vice president, kind of like an insurance
happened to me. This is what you're gonna get.
Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, right.
Well, I don't think Kamala Harris is an insurance policy. I think people go, well, I voted for Biden and I want him to be president, but I don't think anybody's saying, well, you know, if something happens to him, God forbid Kamala Harris would be president of the United States. I don't see that as being terrible.
I didn't say God forbid.
I mean,
don't think she's prepared.
No, I mean, I don't think it's a situation like that. Like I say, you know, I'm not really a fan, but I'm just saying if she had to assume the office because of some tragedy, I mean, you know, the government is set up in a way that that could happen. In a weak individual in that office can maybe not do a very good job, or you know, maybe we have some setbacks and things like that, but we've had that all the time anyway. You know, the republic is going to go on, is what I'm saying.
What I'm saying, and is if you look back at history, Truman,
correct,
was when he became president, everybody went, "Oh boy, this guy's a loser."
Yeah, there was no one that thought he would be
and he became a damn good president. You know. You know, and the same was true of Lyndon Johnson. They said, "Do you really want Lyndon Johnson as a president?" But when he became president, he passed more civil rights legislation than any president in history.
Even more so, you know, with Gerald Ford, who was never elected to be vice president or president,
right,
but was able to execute the duties of the office well enough that, you know, the country came out okay, and it was kind of in a time of, I don't know if you want to call it crisis, but there was certainly turmoil, right? I mean, everything was not hunky-dory or he wouldn't have became president, you know. And then when he asked for his chance to be president, you know, he wasn't elected, so the people didn't particularly care for him obviously all that much. He didn't get elected,
right? But you know what?
But nothing.
Well,
you know,
what we did get was a good. What we did get.
Over.
What we did get was a great trivia question.
Yeah.
Who was the only person ever to become president of the United States who was never elected to the office?
To either office, right? You know,
Yes.
so I mean, I wouldn't be worried or anything. You know, I just I don't particularly like her style, but that doesn't mean that she can't do the job.
But that's the bad thing is I think
Well
there's a lot of
enough.
people in the White House who don't like her style either, including like, you know, members of everybody's staff.
What don't they like about it?
Well, that's the checks and balances that are in place to keep her under control if she does anything strange.
Yeah, but I mean,
She's just not liked, I think, you know.
but how many of you would say maybe
Not a matter of liking.
maybe the attitude about Kamala Harris isn't of her own doing, but is a perception created by a certain amount of sexism?
No.
I don't know, really.
You know,
I mean, I think it's fair enough to say that a lot of times, if there is a female who is sort of a prick, you know, that she will get a harder time about it or a reputation than I think a man would. I mean, I'm sure that we've had presidents, okay, I mean, who were terrible to do. I mean, Lyndon Johnson, right? I mean, he yelled a lot, and he, you know, called Winston Churchill, you know, and he'd make his secretary cry or whatever, but he was Winston Churchill. But I think if a woman did that right now to a man, you know, I mean, Kamala Harris, she made that poor 22-year-old college intern guy cry, you know, I mean, what a bitch.
Yeah. No, it's I don't know who said it a long time ago. But if a woman is, if a guy is a taskmaster, they say, boy, he's got balls. You know, he rules with an iron fist. You know, good for him. And if it's a woman, they say, what a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair argument. You know, to think about.
But I'd put that out there. Do you remember Tulsi Gabbard?
Yeah.
From Hawaii. Like I was so rooting for her because she seemed like she was a very strong woman. I could see her being in charge. She was attractive, but she was also a very strong woman.
You wanted a president you could jerk off to, right?
No, it wasn't that. You know, I'll be honest. You know, she just seemed like she was a very, you know, strong personality, and I liked a lot about her. But some of the stuff with Ukraine coming on, now I'm starting to believe the stuff that maybe she's a Russian agent.
Really? Why do you think she was a Russian agent?
Just she was sitting there saying before, why, you know, is the president even, you know, giving him any of this stage or platform? You know, all Ukraine needs to do is just vow that they will never, you know, try to apply for NATO and none of this will ever happen. You know, give Russia, you know, their security and blah, blah, blah. You know,
I got news for you. If there was ever a country that needed to join NATO, it's Ukraine.
Oh, no, now it's Finland.
Why?
They're already starting to talk about, you know, Finland trying to maybe apply for NATO, and Russia already starting to talk about maybe attacking Finland too.
No. By the way, I heard something today that just really bothered me. There was a guy I used to have on the show, a comedian. Not anybody that's been on a long, long time. I won't say his name because of what I'm about to say. I was told this by Michael Snyder. He is part of a group of people who have the belief that we aren't being given the full story of what's going on in the Ukraine, and basically they're nothing but Nazis. You know, that whole thing?
There is a little bit of an argument to that.
In what respect?
The what is that area that the Russians have holding on to on the eastern side?
Yeah, I know.
Belarus or something?
Well, Belarus is a country, but anyway.
There have been Ukrainians going in there and fighting them. They're separatists. They want to join part of Russia, and there have been Ukrainians. And I'm talking like white Nazis, people with the tats on their necks and everything going in there and fighting some of these people. So there is a little bit of a struggle.
Well, there's a little bit of that here in the United States, too.
Exactly. There's nothing nowhere near warranting a war for another country to be going in there and invading these people.
Yeah, but I mean, this particular guy was playing out the whole theory that, you know, that Putin is trying to put forward. You know, these soldiers, when they go into a town there, they go, "We're here to get you, Nazis." But there are no Nazis like that. I mean, they're not, you'd have to throw a very large boulder in order to hit a Nazi, okay? I mean, this whole concept that they're Nazis is just ridiculous. And to hear an American, especially somebody I know and like, come out with that same theory, I'm going, what happened to this guy? You know, why did he suddenly go nuts? You know?
Did you see the people who voted for Trump?
Yeah, well, I mean, also, he wouldn't have voted for Trump, I'm sure, because he's very much of a lefty. Okay? But he's so far to the left, he's come around the other side to the right wing. And he's giving out with these things about the fact that, you know, Ukraine has a real problem that way. They're Nazis, and all the footage that we see has been staged. Boy, that's a big production.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a Hollywood studio could afford that one. You know?
Yeah, one of my very talented car friends who's got a little wacky on that side, and he claims on their conspiracy theories that, you know, that Zelensky was put in there by America, and he's an actor. You know, he's an actor, we know, and now he's playing an actor in as a president for us, and that's why they're trying to take him out. And
you know, it's ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
My whole thing is just Russia, be a better neighbor. Why are they choosing our side instead of your side?
Look,
if you're a better neighbor, you're right
what they're
there.
doing, I think, is absolutely egregious, and it goes against the Geneva Conventions, most of the stuff they're doing in there, and that they should be taken to task. That the nations of the world should come together and go in there and throw the Russians out of there. And the Russians aren't going to be able to fight it because the Russians don't have the money or the armor. What's the word I'm looking for? Armed power to take care of it. You know. So.
I think that their war in Ukraine is just proof that we should not be afraid of Russia.
Well,
not at all.
You were saying that, weren't you, Josh, to us the other night? That we're unreasonably afraid of Russia, but that they're really failures at war.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, I mean, it's been that way really since the, you know, the reinstitution of their, you know, big time communist Cold War attitude, you know, after the Second World War. I mean, you know, but look, they had failures in the Second World War, you know, I mean that they've always had this command structure of corruption.
They have more nukes than us, but how many of them actually work?
And
no, we have more nukes than they do.
Work.
NATO has more nukes than they do.
Well, NATO does, but Russia has more nukes than the U.S.
Yeah, but that's
that's what I'm just saying though. Looking at their tanks and looking at some of their other infrastructure, how many of their nukes actually work?
How many? Those tanks must be made out of cardboard. Do you notice how they just seem to fall apart by the side of the road?
Yeah.
I mean, how many tanks does it look like the Ukrainians have destroyed?
I think one thing the U.S. is going to have a problem with is all the kids who are in military right now. I heard a lot of stories about, you know, like how the drill sergeant used to make you do push-ups and sit-ups and all that stuff. And I heard that they're not allowed to do that anymore. If they do that, they have to do that with them. And that a lot of this whole new, you know, all these new generation of kids, they're just so soft.
It's been since the 90s that the drill instructors have to do the same exercises that the recruits do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff, I don't know if it's getting too soft for all that now, too.
Well, you know, I mean, I think it's just terrible over there, and I think we should do something about it. And I'm never one to say let's go to war anywhere. But, man, if there was ever a reason, this is a reason. You know, what's going on over there is just terrible. It's just terrible. You know, so, anyway, hey, there's our theme song. Thank you so much, Kevin, for being with us tonight. We appreciate it. Jeff, as always, great to have you here. Jason, nice to have you here tonight. You know, a pleasant surprise. And, of course, Josh, always good to see you. You're always a nice presence on our show. And, of course, there's Alan, and there's Tony, and then there is Kevin. And you're on vacation next week, so we probably won't see you. Brian, excuse me.
Let's get this confused. We look very.
I'm out of it. I'm gone. You know,
put your name thing up there.
Lost.
Yeah, you should put your. Yeah. Anyway, Brian, thank you, and maybe we'll see you next week, or maybe we won't. you know.
I'll make a guest appearance. I'll try to.
Okay. Everybody give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you, okay? There they go, folks. There they go. That's our citizen panel for tonight. And they'll be back again, I'm sure, next week, except for Brian, who's going to be out there vacationing. That's very, very nice. Anyway, I'm out of here now for a couple of days, and then on Monday we'll be here at 4 o'clock with the pop-up show we do that's on, goes out over Facebook, okay? And then we're back here again on Wednesday night, same time, same station in life, 10:30 Eastern. And in the meantime, as always, you know what I always say, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody.